All right, I think we're about to get ready. Thank you all for coming. So we'll go ahead and start the meeting. We do have a pretty good lineup of speakers, so we want to try to go ahead and get things moving here. Thank you all for coming. There are some drinks in here and some snacks, so feel free to help yourselves. This meeting is being recorded. It's not being live streamed. We had a lot of trouble figuring out the live stream, so what we've settled on is the meetings will be recorded and posted to YouTube afterwards so that people who can't come can watch them later. So we want to thank our hosts, the Arwayne Estopanol College of Architecture and Planning. It's the Cap Indy Center. They've been very generous hosts. We've had our meetings here for a few years now, so we always want to say thank you. I do want to start off with a reminder that the meeting is being recorded, as I just mentioned, and you can find it on our YouTube channel later. And also, as we're having a lot, the speakers come up, we do have several of them, so let's try to keep our comments brief. If there's a couple questions, maybe after each one, but let's try to keep it kind of short. And then if you really want to dig into the details of anything that comes up tonight, we do have the association board, and that's a great opportunity for you to get involved. That's a separate meeting from this one where we can really talk about other things going on in a different format. So we do have, like I said, a very long lineup of speakers. We've got about 9 people on the list. Several of them are present. A few I think we're still waiting on. They're running a little late. But we are just going to jump into it. After the speakers, we're going to have neighborhood reports on a few things that are going on, and then we'll kind of hit our regular updates at the end of the meeting. Before we kind of get started, I wanted to remind everybody that we're trying a new format this year. So this is a February meeting, but we are having these quarterly this year. So it's going to be every 3 months. And then we are making them a little bit longer. So this meeting might run until 8:30. I'll make sure we kind of try to wrap it up by 8:30, but we wanted to give a little extra time this year. So fewer meetings, but making them a little bit longer so that we can accommodate all of the speakers that have been really interested in coming to talk to us. So with that, we will get started. First up, we have Stacey Rojas, our IMPD East District.
Yeah, if you haven't met me, I'm Stacey Rojas. I'm one of your community resource officers for East District. I don't have much to talk about today. Your neighborhood's looking pretty good. We do have a couple of theft from vehicles and like theft from porches happening. So just be aware of the things that you leave in your vehicles and the packages you leave on your porch. You can have packages delivered to some place where you know somebody will be. There's Amazon lockers, but people do walk around neighborhoods just looking for packages to steal. So please, if you can, bring those in as quickly as possible. And please do not leave valuables in your car. Don't leave guns, laptops, purses, even book bags that may have nothing in them. Please don't leave those in your car. They will break out windows or just open your door and take stuff. Other than that, I don't really have a whole lot. Our next task force meeting is March 12th. At 201 North Shadeland at 6 p.m. if anybody would like to join us for our meeting. And that's about it. That's all I have right now. Does anybody have any questions? Appreciate that. I had a quick question. I'll just let everybody know, like, when to call 911, when to call a non-emergency number. If something is actively happening, call 911. If something happened 20 minutes ago, you can call the 9 emergency number. But regardless of what's happening, if it's actively happening and you believe it's a crime, call 911. Okay, somebody doesn't have to be dying for you to call 911. Okay, all right. Have a great evening.
All right, next up, we have Emily Plunkett with Pacers Bike Share.
Well, thank you all for that warm welcome. I am so excited to be here with you all this evening. As Jen said, my name is Emily Plunkett. I am here with the Pacers Bike Share program, and I'm really excited to be here, especially I have a bit of a family connection to at least the church here in the neighborhood. My parents and grandparents and lots of aunts and uncles were married there, so it's such a joy to be here with you this evening. I do have some notes. I'm going to pull these up real quick. So the Pacers Bike Share, I'm going to share a little bit about it, its connection to the cultural trail, and some exciting developments from this last year for you. So the Indianapolis Cultural Trail operates the Pacers Bike Share. If you're not familiar with the cultural trail, it is the multi-use path that connects all sorts of cultural districts and bike and pedestrian infrastructure in downtown Indianapolis. It operates a Pacers bike share and has for the last 10 years. So last year was our 10th anniversary, big year for us. Not only did we launch electric assist bicycles, but we also launched a free pass program. And as residents here in Holy Cross, you have access to the bike share for free. So that's part of what I'm here to share about this evening, along with a couple of new stations that you might have passed on your way in. So if you're not familiar with bike share is essentially a bike library for the city. So if you don't own a bike, or if you're downtown and don't have access to your own bike, you can check out a bike from one of our stations. We have 52 throughout the city. You can ride it around wherever you're going to go and return it to one of the stations. So it's just that easy. If you're curious about that, I'd love to get you on a bike. Let me know. We go as far north as Broad Ripple and as far south as Garfield Park, as far west as the B&O Trailhead. It's along West Michigan, and as far east for the moment here on Market Street. So we're working on expanding, more on that to come. So part of the reason I'm here, of course, is the two new stations. One is they're both along Market Street. One is at the intersection of Cruz and Market, and the other is at the intersection of Dixon and Market. There we go. So they're right close to each other. They have 10 docks each, so 10 different spots where you can return a bike or check a bike out. We're really excited about them here. You might notice some technical difficulties at those. It's been really cold, and for whatever reason, they're giving us fits at the moment. We're hoping we can get that sorted out here in the next week, especially as the temperatures warm up again on us. I also mentioned our free pass program that is called Indy Rides Free. We launched that back in May. It allows for unlimited free 30-minute trips on Pacers Bike Share. You can sign up on our website. I have some information that I stuck on the table over here for you to learn more. The pass is good for a year. And the magical thing is, if you need to ride longer than 30 minutes, you can return the bike to a station and check it right back out, and that clock will start over. So really, you can go as far as you want with Bike Share. And I'll take any questions, if there are any. Yep.
I just want to say, if you're going to one station, hold your finger over that sensor for a minute. It'll wake it up. It bugged the hell out of me when I really needed it the most. And I called first. So yeah.
Yes, thank you for that. So the comment was, this is a bit of a new technology for us here at the Bike Share. They're called 3.0 docks. And so you do have to wake them up, just so they can talk to the satellite and all sorts of things there. So just wake them up, lights should flash, and you should be able to check out a bike then. So thank you for that. Yes. Yes, there's another station at King Do. So anything else? All right, well, thank you so much.
And I did sign up for that program, and it does work very easily. So if you have any interest at all, there's nothing to lose by just signing up and figuring it out. I was able to take it up the Monon to the Soli Winery thing up there on 16th still. So it's really cool. Next up, we have Aaron Klauber with FACE to tell us all about the clinic.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Thanks, Jen, and for letting us be a part of your meeting tonight. I am Aaron Klauber. I'm the Community Outreach Manager for FACE Low-Cost Animal Clinic. Hopefully, you're familiar with us. We're not too far from you. Just a little north up in Windsor Park, 1505 Massachusetts Avenue is our address. Our mission, in case you're unfamiliar, is to provide affordable, high-quality, basic services for the community to prevent the unnecessary euthanasia of dogs and cats in the neighborhood. Basic services that we provide, of course, spay and neuter surgeries, vaccinations, prevention medication for fleas, ticks, heartworms, and then our community cat program, which is why I'm here today. March 17th is when our community cat program will open back up. It doesn't happen in the winter season, mainly because of the temperatures out there. Heaven forbid a cat gets trapped in a trap and exposed to the elements. Caretaker can't get back to pick it up for whatever reason. We don't want that animal to suffer. So we don't do community cats during the winter season. So March 17th is when we'll start back up. And if you happen to be a caretaker of any community cats, I've got some materials, whether you're a caretaker or not, that you can take home with you tonight that I'll put over on the table. But I do have a card if anybody is a caretaker. I got something special that I can give to you tonight as well. Again, a caretaker is not an owner of the animal. It just provides food, water, and sometimes is usually in the winter shelters. So in case you weren't familiar with how fast cats can reproduce, just some data real quick. One female cat can have up to 18 kittens in 1 year. One female dog can have up to 12 puppies in a year. So cats' reproduction systems are faster and they can have higher litter numbers. So even scarier is a mother cat can get pregnant again within 4 weeks of having that litter. So it's just amazing how fast cats can reproduce and how out of hand they can get. So one female community cat can turn into 109 cats by the end of 2 years. So that is why we are here to take care of those community cats. We believe that trap, neuter, return is the only humane way to manage overpopulation and to reduce shelter intake and euthanasia. So if you are a caretaker of those cats, in case you didn't know this fact, it is a city-county ordinance that if you are feeding or providing water for a community cat, you are required by the city county to get that animal sterilized within 60 days of giving it that first dose of food and water. So just keep that in mind if you're helping out those community cats. And we do have a community cat package at Face. It's $65, and what those cats get is their surgery, spay or neuter. They get a 1-year rabies vaccine, they get a 3-month flea treatment, and they get an ear tip. If you're not familiar with that, nowadays it's pretty much standard. It does not injure or harm the animal at all. It is a physical sign that that animal has been sterilized, so it doesn't need to be trapped again and go through the trauma of getting trapped, going to the clinic, and then they realize the animal's been neutered or spayed already, and then it just sits in our clinic for 24 hours and then gets released and it's just furious. So that's why the ear tip happens. So you can just visually say, that cat's cool, it's been sterilized, no reproduction there. We do have community cat traps for you to check out for free. There's no cost for those. You just make your appointment over the phone, and then 48 hours in advance of your appointment, you come up to the clinic, you check out your trap. We show you how to use it if you're not familiar with it. And then if you, $65 is the package, but that can be challenging if you're taking care of a colony of even 5 cats, multiple cats. Work with us. We've got some discretionary funds through grants, donations, and such that can help people get those cats spayed and neutered. So that's the point. We will help you get that done if you need a little advice or instructions or input on how to get that done. We also, on our website, faceanimalclinic.org, we've got a good community cat page with 30, 40 Q&A questions and answers right there. So that's a great resource you can go to and check that out as well anytime. And that's all I had specifically for Face, was just to remind you about our community cat program. And we will open up the phone to make those appointments 1 week before March 17th. So March 10th is when we can start making the reservations for those appointments. And I did want to mention things that are Marion County ordinances, in case you hadn't heard that. There were 2 major ones that started in 2025. They're not going to be enforced till 2026. So this year's about education, knowledge, making sure the public's aware. But I wanted to mention that there is a new registry for any unaltered animals for Marion County, unaltered animal registry. It's free, doesn't cost you, but if you plan on having some puppies, breeding your dog, that's fine. But Marion County wants to know that you're doing it. So that's a reminder. Animalregistry.indy.gov is the website to do that. And then microchipping your pets. Now, we all wanted to do it. It's the right thing to do, but most people, or some people, just have trouble getting it done. Well, that's another new city ordinance, county ordinance, is that if you own a pet, let's get that pet microchipped. We provide that service as well at the clinic. If you have questions about that, we're happy to provide that. And you can get more information about those new ordinances at the Indy Request app, or you can go to indy.gov, and it's right there on the Request Indy thing. Very easy to find there. So I'll take a few questions, but I am going to stick around till the end in case you have something afterwards you'd like to discuss. Nope. Oh, yes. We have walk-ins on Tuesdays only, 1 to 3 p.m. is walk-in hours. Yeah, for vaccines, or if you just needed, wanted to get an exam, your nail trims, anything like that, you could walk in and get that done Tuesday afternoons, 1 to 3. If it's an owned animal, I was kind of focused on community cats tonight. If you have an owned pet, dog or cat, you can make your own appointment for those by yourself through the website. But community cats, we do have to make those appointments over the phone because we do have a standard questions that we go through to make sure we've got the right information about your cat. All right. Thank you, everybody.
You. Okay. Next up, we have Mal Chamberlain to talk about KIB.
Hello, good evening, everybody. I did have a presentation I was going to go through, but we're just going to skip that tonight. It's a little bit longer, so okay, we'll do that then. But yes, thank you for having me. Mal Chamberlain from Keep Indianapolis Beautiful. I am one of our managers of community engagement at KIB. Sometimes you'll hear it as KIB, KIBI, or just Keep Indy Beautiful. So just a few programs I wanted to go over tonight. We have some great opportunities at Keep Indianapolis Beautiful. And some departments that we have. I heard a few of you already talking about it, but we have our Adopt a Block program. So Adopt a Block program is a 2-year program where you can renew on a rotating basis. It's where you vow to adopt your block, pick up litter along your block for those 2 years. We call you a block captain. There's some really great opportunities that come with that, networking events, even litter grabber decorating events that you can attend to make that litter grabber pretty. If you're interested in Adopt a Block, you can sign up online. I'm going to have information on all of our materials, and I actually have some patches for our Adopt a Block captains if you'd like to grab one tonight. We have a great Indy cleanup. Any neighborhood can go ahead and reach out to KIB, whether that be through our online application or calling in to get a cleanup going in your area. So I will say April is our busiest month, especially around Earth Day. But you can go ahead, reach out to us and apply for a Great Indy Cleanup. It's where we will provide a packer truck or a dumpster on Saturdays. And we have morning and afternoon slots. So you and your neighbors can go ahead and walk your neighborhood and pick up litter and trash around the area. With the Great Indy Cleanup, we have an awesome cleanup coming to the Pleasant Run area for Earth Day. So definitely get on our website, our projects calendars, and check out all the events we have coming up. We've got one coming up actually on the 22nd of this month as well to clean up our waterways. We also have green spaces. So if there's any underutilized lots or vacant lots in your area, you and community members can get together and apply for a green space. We have you brainstorm, come up with ideas, and you can apply to make that space a green space in your area where we come in. We help to do some of the hardscaping and connect you to resources to further along that project. We help you for a year with the main project, and then we've got a maintenance project that goes along with it. And we are hoping that once we start that green space, it can be utilized for at least 10 years so that you and your neighbors can use it. A lot of people use it for pocket parks and things like that. And then what you might know us most for, other than our Great Indy Cleanup, is our community forestry program. So if you see us around throughout the spring and fall planting trees, that's usually KIB. We plant trees in your areas. So we're helping to increase the tree canopy in your area, reduce those heat islands. The community forestry program with the tree plantings, a great way to get involved, come out, do tree plantings. We're able to sign off on service hours and community service if you need it. And then our big thing really that we're pushing right now is if you have any youth in your life, or if any of you are interested in being a summer leader, we have our urban naturalist and our youth tree team applications open now. So youth tree team and our urban naturalist are summer programs. Urban naturalists have a little bit more of a criteria. We're looking for students that are currently enrolled in school, in college. But the youth tree team is a summer program for youth. It's about 20 hours a week for 7 weeks. And our leaders of that program are working 30 to 40 hours a week for 9 weeks. A really great way to just come out, get the youth employed for the summer. They are doing our main tree maintenance throughout Indianapolis. And it's a great way for anyone who maybe has those summers off or those free days or those not working during the day in the summer, maybe have those evening jobs to kind of just help the youth in your area. I think that's about all of it. So if there's any questions, let me know. But I've got some materials and I'm going to stick around till after the meeting to talk to anyone if you'd like. Mhm. Okay. Do Do you know if they were planted within the last 3 years or was it more than 3 years? Okay, so if it's more than 3 years, we have you call into the Mayor's Action Center or to DPW to put in a request. We maintenance the trees for the first 3 years of their lives, planting, pruning, mulching. But after those 3 years, those become the property of DPW to work on. So I definitely recommend putting in a request there. Yes, and that's something too. We plant in the right of way. I know in the past, so there were some differences with fencing. We do plant in the right of ways. So sometimes that does look like it's impinging on private property. But definitely reach out to DPW. If there's any confusion on that, I can give you my card and you can shoot me an email and I can have her to. Definitely have her. I don't think so, but if you want to, I'll give you my card. If you want to shoot me an email just to talk about that address, I can get it to our community forestry team to see if they can take a look at it. Yeah. Yeah. I believe it's still on hold right now. Definitely can look into that. We're kind of have some changes in our clean neighborhood team right now. So I'd be on that lookout for that. Yeah, of course. Any questions? Yes, yeah, for the youth tree team at least. If you are a youth, I believe above the age of 15, I have some more information on that. They can definitely apply. Applications are open now, but they do need to be submitted by April 1st. Absolutely. Awesome. Thank you all. Appreciate it. Script, sorry, there's so much there. I will mention real quick that I did have a meeting about something else with DPW recently, and somebody asked about trees, and the question was sort of like if the trees are covering like signage, especially like if they're impeding a stop sign or something like that, if it's a tree in the right of way, you can definitely put in a request app for that to have it like cleared out so that it's not a safety issue. If it's on private property, it could be a little bit more of a gray area in terms of whether the city would say that the homeowner needs to fix it, but also if it's like covering a sign, you might want to let the homeowner, I don't know, like it was kind of a gray area when they talked about that. But if it's tree in the right of way, for sure, you can call the city to get the signage cleared up. And so now I'm going to turn over to Deb Kuntz. Deb does work for JS Held. She's not an employee of Arsenal Tech, but they are helping with some improvements to Arsenal Tech. So she's going to give us an update on what how those improvements are going.
Yeah, thank you. All right. So has anybody been to a football game at Arsenal Tech in the fall that they saw the new football field? Anyone? Yeah. What do you think? Never been to the game yet? Yeah. Well, here's your picture. You can see it. So the field is done, but there's more work to do. IPS has been doing a lot of capital investments in Arsenal Tech. Obviously, it's one of their signature flagship high schools. And so, this is just a list of all the completed work that's happened over the last couple of years at Tech. Some of it happens inside and you don't even know that it's happening. So we just want to make sure that it is happening. And there's a lot of investments, physical investments. So the outdoor things you see, you don't always see the indoors. So we thought we'd come and talk about the additional security cameras, the building automation system, so we can turn, just like you do at home, we turn down the heat, right, in the evening when no one is there to save energy, just like you do at home. We're improving the classroom lighting, the tech pointing, and things like that. There is other work that is active and is going on, so we wanted to mention that. Most of it will be done by the end of 2025. So when we do come back and give updates, you're going to slowly see projects complete and go on the completed list. And then we'll see what happens for 2026. But this includes recabling for audio visual, which is the classroom, the projectors and things that actually deliver for the classrooms. Our security systems, we're going to continue to change out cameras. Technology changes quickly, right? So it's and Tech is a big campus, so it's a constant. There's also a lot of old masonry at that old Civil War site, and so we consistently and constantly are doing tuck pointing of the masonry. We're replacing fire alarm, and then a continued work on the athletic field. So the field was number one with the track, but we are doing bleacher replacement. We're doing a new press box. Fencing is going to be upgraded, as well as accessible pathways for ADA compliance. And then ultimately, we are also in the fall going to refurbish the basketball court surface. So that's what's going on. I know the last time I was here, there was a lot of questions around what's happening with the parent drop off and pick up, particularly as it relates to Michigan and what's happening. We were unable, Jen, to get DPW here, but they are open to coming to your next meeting. So if we can help continue to facilitate that, we will. It seems like a logical conversation piece for this group, particularly as they are planning to change Michigan Street to a two-way. So I do know that from IPS's perspective, I know we increased security to try to make things better for that. I think we've seen some improvements. I hope that is the case, that we still get that. But the changing of Michigan Street is going to change it all. And so more to come on that. Yes.
Michigan Street, even with it as a two-way, I spent 10 minutes the other day. Car took a photo, and there were 3 cars trying to get into a closed gate. If we can't be actually floating on a two-way.
Yeah. Well, the gate being closed maybe was problem number 1. I'm not sure about that. So we'll have to check. Oh, you mean the closed part of the campus? Yeah. Okay. Got it. I got it. Yeah. Everybody wants to drop in the same spot.
Architecture trying to say we're blocking this,
Mm-hmm.
either putting bollards up to say we can't even pull in. It was a traffic block the other day.
Yeah.
And I absolutely believe kids need to go to school. I was actually dropping my kid off right behind Arsenal over at what's the school's name? Harshman. I was trying to drop him off at Harshman, and it was like, oh, this is not going to happen in time.
Look, are you going to be at the next meeting? She mentioned she's going to get you here to talk about this.
Yes, I will. I will do that. You know I'll be here. What's up, DPW operator?
Yeah, I know it was recognized at the last meeting, but obviously this is a something that we need to work with IPD and DPW and IPS, right? All the initials need to come together to help solve that problem for sure. So, yeah, Jen.
Special events are be doing now.
Yes, yeah, we are. We've been talking with the communications team at IPS about doing some events that are associated with. There's other capital projects that are happening in the district, but particularly with the athletics, to me, there's an opportunity probably in the fall with football season to do something pretty fun. Great, I love it, and thanks to Rachel. Rachel's with Higher Ed; they're part of our team as well. So, okay. Thanks, everyone.
Right. And next up, we've got Alan Witchy. He's with the Damien Center and the brand new Cafe au Star. He's going to tell us all about it.
Sure. So I'm with Damien Center. We own the block between Oriental and Arsenal. So all those properties we own, and then the one property on Arsenal north of that, right off of Washington. So our main headquarters is in that old, I believe it is a Lutheran high school that's there, 26 North Arsenal. Our mission, we serve people living with or at risk of HIV, and we have a medical clinic, a pharmacy, mental health center, housing assistance, food assistance, so a whole host of services all under that one roof. And we are working to build a beautiful new building right there in the corner of Oriental and Washington. So that's our new headquarters building. And then there's a space right between it that has an old, an abandoned apartment building. We just got possession of that in the last 6 months. So we're excited about that. And then there's a little corner bar, tiny little building really, that used to be Zoni's bar. And that has been repurposed into what we call Cafe Oztara. It's kind of like the Wizard of Oz in Tara or Tara, whichever you prefer. I say Oztara, but there's a lot of people disputing me on that. We just opened on the very, less than 2 weeks ago on First Friday. So it is open now, and we invite all of you to come and check it out. Our current hours are 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday through Friday. So we're hoping to have extended hours in the evenings and on Saturdays eventually. So we're working towards that. That first level is a coffee shop and cafe. So you can come in and have coffee. There are smoothies, there are breakfast wraps in the morning and pastries, some lunch items like salads and a few other items that you can come in and get. It will be sort of a workforce training hospitality program. So on the second floor, which was not being used by the prior owner, there'll be sort of adult basic education and training programs for the community. It's not limited to people who are accessing care with us. It's sort of a community-based program. And on that lower level, they'll be going through the hospitality training program and serving people who are coming in. So we're very, very excited about it and want to make sure you all know that you're welcome to come. Parking is very complicated right now because the headquarters is ongoing in its construction. That building will be done in about 2 months. So for those of you who are cursing all the parking woes right around there, we will be a much happier community when all the construction people are gone. So Cafe Aztara is open one evening a month, which is First Friday. So we had the First Friday in February. And on the walls, there's local art from only local artists are able to submit art, and there's many, many pieces. So please come in and check it out. The second floor isn't open all the time to the public because that's where training programs are going on, the workforce development oriented. And but there's art up there, and on First Friday, both levels are open. We'll have some wine, so you can come and have a glass of wine and a little bit of food. So please come and join us on First Friday if you have the opportunity. And the main headquarters will be opening. We'll have a community welcome, so a day for the community to come and learn and see the new building. It's going to be quite beautiful. It'll be 3 levels. And it's 56,000 square feet, so it's a much larger building than we currently have. There are various art pieces that are being developed there. So there'll be a 3-story mosaic that's been created by the community. So many people in the neighborhood have come to workshops that we've hosted and built parts and pieces of it. So you'll get to see that. And from Washington Street, you'll be able to look in and see that, and it'll all be lit up. And so we're very excited. The pharmacy will be available for people who want to get anything from the community too. So you can come there and park and get your pharmacy scripts filled if you want. And the medical clinic will be open to anyone in the community as well when we get into the new building. So it's an exciting time for us. And we're going to keep our existing building. People ask that a lot. And we'll have programs going on in that building as well as our new building and the Aztara Cafe. I'll answer any questions if you have any. Yes. Yeah, so we are planning to do something there. A lot of people have been asking me that. So we would like to do apartments there. That's our goal. And it would be sort of we believe we could get about 40 units there. And we would like to have like 10 set aside for sort of chronic homelessness and 30 sort of affordable market rate units. That would be our dream. We do not have that going forward at the moment, but that is what our hope is. Either way, we are trying to retain the existing structure there and renovate it either as part of an affordable housing complex, or we will renovate it and try to attach it to the cafe. Yeah, so great question. When spring comes, please come soon. There will be a patio added in the back, as well as parking in the back specifically for the cafe. So those, you should expect to see those over the summer. Yes. Uh, so people have asked that. So it is not a bar. It's a sober place for people to hang out. However, we will make it available for people who want to do one-time events, and if people want to do a drag show at night, and they can book it with us, and they can do a one-night liquor license if they want. So we're very open to that, and I'm sure we have some staff who will probably be scheduling it. Yes. Yeah, so we would like to we are doing the first Friday, as I mentioned, and there won't be entertainment for that, but we would like to schedule the other 3 to 4 Fridays a month to have sort of live entertainment, and not obviously the space isn't huge, but to do things. So I know we've had some interest from community organizations, including classical music artists, drag artists, music bands. So it's a small space, as I keep telling people. So it's not as though they can do giant performances, but you can have pretty easily 50 or 60 people attend, but it gets pretty crowded after that. So yes, we hope to have that, and our plan is to keep the art rotating through. We'd like to do it every month. We have this first exhibition that'll be there for 2 months. We would like to get to a place where it's rotating every month or every 2 months, and that that on those off Fridays that we're doing some kind of entertainment there. Yeah, it's exciting times. Yeah, no. Yeah, so there's parking under the building, thank goodness. And there's parking behind the building. We are working to look at, there's a lot. So there's the abandoned apartment building, and then there's a big space between that and the new building. And so we're looking at that space. And we're looking at the idea of adding maybe some parking, some community garden. So there's two options, and we haven't quite figured out what that will be. And some of that will depend upon our use of the abandoned building and our ability to renovate. That building does not have a roof on it, so it's just been probably for 25 years, it's been raining inside it. So there's nothing salvageable inside. But believe it or not, we had an engineer look at the building, and they said the bricks and the foundation are salvageable and are in fine condition. So I know our board would like to preserve the building. I don't know if anyone knows anything about the building, but we don't really know anything about that one. Obviously, the old Zonies building had a lot of fondness in the community, and a lot of people felt very strongly when we acquired that we need to save it. So we're really happy with it. It's really quite beautiful, but stay tuned on some of that other building, and we'll keep you updated about it. And please, again, join us and come check out Cafe Astara, and we welcome all of you to check it out and come on First Fridays.
I'll just add my own plug. I went there last week to do some work in the morning when I was working remote, and it was very lovely. And also, I went to drag bingo last month, so you should talk to those people. That was a fun time. Next, we have Andrew. He's with Congressman Andre Carson's office, so he's going to give us some updates there.
Good evening, everyone. I booked this back before the election, and safe to say a lot's happened since then. So I'm going to let the flyers over there do the talking. I brought a lot of them, so hopefully we can keep time under consideration here. And I'm just going to try to blast through this as quick as I can, and hopefully it's informative. I did want to mention it is a new Congress, so that means all of the bills have gone away. We're working right now to introduce everything that Congressman Carson had on the floor last year. And we're also working on some new pieces of legislation with this fresh start in Congress. For us, we really want to hear from the folks in our district. So if you have any ideas for bills that you would like to see on Capitol Hill, please let us know. The congressman did have a town hall last night as well. I think that might still be active if you would like to send questions in that way or just your thoughts generally. We're not really that difficult to get in touch with. I did want to highlight this flyer. I have a copy in Spanish over on the side. This was the first thing we did at the start of this year. We had heard from thousands of just concerned citizens in Indianapolis about, the threat of ICE, what's going to happen for kids maybe, or getting arrested at IPS, so many different issues. We have this currently, I think, in something like 20 languages, and we can get it translated into any language you want. So if you have neighbors who might find this information useful, it's just stuff from the ACLU, just to give people a little bit of clarity and a little bit of reassurance in these kind of uncertain times. Just reach out to our office. We'd be happy to get you piles and piles of these. And thankfully, we've started to see them disperse out through the community. And I will say a lot of other Congress members copied this. But, that's what they're there for. And we are going to continue to push out information in real time. If you're not on our newsletter, that's the biggest reach and the quickest way that we can get information out. And so this is just one example of some of the work that we've been doing. I did want to ask folks to save the date for our Youth Opportunities Fair. I think I mentioned this last year. We do it every year. But it's on March 12th. It's going to be from noon to 7 at the Ivy Tech Culinary Center. The gist is if you have kids and they're maybe looking to get their first job, hold something up. There we go. I think it's good. Oh no, I'm getting hacked. No. Okay. Whoop. Either way, besides for the kids, whether they're looking for a job or just to get involved, stay active outside of school, the thing I wanted to note for this as well is we've extended the registration deadline. So if your organization is hiring and looking for individuals aged 14 to 22, this would be an excellent opportunity. We usually have a strong turnout from the local schools, and we are currently running out of space. I think we're limited to something like 125 booths. We always get well over that number. So if this is of interest to your organization, please reach out to us as soon as you can. I also wanted to flag, this is going to come up here soon. It's not really close to here, but we do office hour events throughout the community. Our closest upcoming one for this month is going to be at Lawrence Township Trustees offices. If you have an organization that would love to have us, either for an office hours event or any other type of particular event, we're more than happy to meet you where you are. And it's just one of the initiatives that we try to be out in the community. So please do spread the word. I know a lot of folks can't make it to the Julia Carson Government Center, so we try to come to them when possible. And I'm not going to harp too much on this slide. Safe to say a lot has happened since January. And I actually printed out, this is a newsletter of ours. It's over there. It gives you all the nitty gritty of what the congressman has been working on. If you go and you look at the recording of the town hall from last night, that'll give you a better update than this, in fact. But our concern right now is basically protecting the funding that we have gotten for the community, whether that's for the rehabilitation of the Rivoli Theater or the monies that we got for the Blue Line, or plenty of other projects around town. Or take the latest example, NIH funds over at IU, Indy, or Purdue that are suddenly being slashed. That's of a major concern for us because that directly impacts all the folks in this room. And simple things like checks and balances. It's oversight time in Congress. So, we're going to use every tool in the toolbox. Regardless of how you voted, it's important that we keep this constitutional system working. And that's kind of the congressman's focus with this. And real quickly here, I wanted to end it on a high note because I know it's been pretty depressing to watch the news lately. This is a program, Valentine's for Vets. This was started by Julia Carson. We've lost count of how many years this has been going on. This year we got 5,500 Valentines for veterans made by local school kids all throughout Marion County. And we got them delivered, put a lot of miles on my car, out to nursing homes, apartment buildings, anywhere that vets can be found. I did want to share, we could use more on both ends. 5,000 is a good start. We'd love to have 10,000 Valentines. So if you know teachers, principals who would like to participate in this program next year, please let our office know. We're always looking for ins because people come and go, and this isn't always a top priority to tell the incoming teachers about. And then for veterans, we could always use more. Each veteran right now gets 2. We'd love to have even more folks to help with the excess of Valentine's we sometimes get. Just a way to say thank you for everything that they've done. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions. Going once, going twice. Go ahead, Counselor. Uh-huh. Well, the congressman, is just one member of Congress, and a lot of folks have called in asking, like, what more can he do? And we're always open to hearing that. But realistically, people still have the power in this country. And I think a lot of folks have kind of forgotten since COVID the good old-fashioned organizing, frankly. And it's been wonderful to see people, speaking their minds at the State House every weekend. And the other thing I will say is people have just been bombarding DC with messages. We got 5,000 last week from our constituents. I know we got more the week before. We love that. Our senators, their phone lines went down because so many people called the senators. That still has an impact whether or not you go to voicemail. So we encourage folks, whether it's your senators, calling them, making your voice heard, especially, I hate to be Debbie Downer here, but they're going to pass a budget next week, and that's probably going to include a huge Medicaid cut. And that's going to hurt a lot of Hoosiers. I think 1 in 5 are on Medicaid. Tell our senators, like, this is unacceptable. This is going to hurt everyday people. And if that fails, go back to the foundation of this country, which is really just speaking out as citizens. Just to give one quick anecdote, and then I'll get off the stand. When that funding freeze came down a couple weeks ago, they announced it on midnight on Monday. And then over the course of Tuesday, millions of people said, well, we can't pause all federal dollars. Like, that's insane. And by the end of that Tuesday, I know a judge stepped in. They had also rescinded the memo. And come to find out, the White House was not expecting to get pushback on that. They had no idea that people would be mad that all federal dollars would go away. So just to show that was a victory. And that's really, when enough people speak, they listen. Any other questions? All right. Thank you so much.
Okay, next up, we've got our counselor for District 13, Jesse Brown.
Good evening, everybody. Yeah, no real news on my front in the last month or so. All right, that's not true. There's been a lot of news, including on the news. Didn't want to really harp on that or dwell on it. As I think anybody who's had any contact with me has known, I'm a very high information person. So if you don't subscribe to my email newsletter, you can always go to www.jessefornd.com, where I post all my weekly newsletters. The one thing I don't include on the website is I also send out a daily summary of what meetings I'm having, who I'm talking with, what I'm thinking about, books I'm reading. I try to bombard you with everything I'm doing because I work for you. I'm making it my full-time job, even though it only pays 30 grand a year. So I think you deserve to know what I'm up to, and I want your feedback. If you think I'm doing an awesome job, that's great. You don't have to tell me that. Politicians don't need bigger egos. If you have an issue with what I'm doing, or you think I'm making the wrong call, I really do want to hear from you. Especially, I'd love to get coffee or beer, sit down and talk it over, or just a phone call, or you can just shoot me an email. Either way, I read every single one, try to respond as quickly as I can to everyone. The one thing I will say, well, I'm here to represent you no matter if you like me as a politician or not, whether you like my political ideas or not. I want to represent my constituents. And so this last week, for example, I consider Kelly Diamond, who is the interim director who's poised for appointment for Indianapolis Animal Care Services. Consider her a friend, think she's a really great person, but I received such overwhelming feedback from constituents that I've committed to voting no on her appointment. And so, I put all of my thoughts out so that you can say, hey, you're getting this wrong. And I listen and I try to do what you say. So especially if you dislike anything or have questions, I'm always happy to talk more. Don't get a politician talking, I'll never shut up. But I am always happy to hear from you and learn from you, especially if you have critiques. But yeah, the one thing I will say about the caucus drama, so I was recently expelled by 13 of my peers on the Democratic City County Council caucus. The one thing I'll say about that, my peers have the right to do what they want, even though I strongly disagree and wish they would give more public reasons as to why. But the one thing that I think directly affects you as constituents is I currently sit on only 3 committees on the Indianapolis City County Council. Every single Republican on the city council sits on either 6 or 7 committees. And committees is where the real nuts and bolts work of city government happens. And so my ask is, if my peers don't want to consider me a fellow Democrat, despite me being duly elected, never voting for another party in my entire life, being an elected precinct committee person, giving a speech at the Democratic State Convention last year, if all of that doesn't matter, okay, well then why do I have less committee assignments than any Republican? My district doesn't deserve to be discriminated against in that way. So if you're interested and agree with me on that, some constituents are organizing a march on City Hall at the next full council meeting. Whether or not you agree with that and whether or not you want to participate, totally up to you. I will still represent you and fight for you just as hard, but did want to put it out there that it's happening. In the interest of being a high information person, I really do want to hear from you if you're hearing any or seeing any trends. And so some people in Holy Cross reached out to me and let me know, and actually Windsor Park and a couple other nearby neighborhoods let me know they've seen last chance wreckers come by and put notices on people's windshields and threaten to tow cars or actually tow cars. They noticed a suspicious uptick in maybe the last 6 months. And these are things where if people are individually reporting them to Request Indy, maybe they get handled, maybe they don't. But if it is a broader trend, that's something I want to be aware of so that I can try to get to the bottom of it and get it fixed. So even if it's just some minor annoyance where you don't think I have the power to fix it, you might be right. But sometimes even just seeing the trend helps me better push for answers for you. So don't hesitate to throw it my way. I promise you I don't get sick of, minor quibbles. Like that's my job. That's what I'm here to do. So please do send that over. Other issues, obviously right now, we know snow and ice has been a big issue in the last couple of months. If anyone didn't see, I think in large part because of the pressure the city council put on the mayor's administration, we changed from the old policy, which was maybe we'll plow some residential streets if there's 6 inches or more of snow, to the new policy, which was just announced, is now if anytime there's 4 inches or more of snow, we are going to plow all the residential streets. I think that's a big step in the right direction. Most of the metro area around Indianapolis has that same policy, but for 2 inches of snow. So I still kind of hate that we're playing second fiddle to podunk communities that aren't as good as us. Not that I'm biased. But I do also understand it's a funding limit and we also don't want to have to pay taxes through the roof. So I get where we're coming from. And at least I want to praise that step in the right direction. But that just, that wouldn't have happened if the city council hadn't heard from so many constituents about how unacceptable the snow and ice response was in January and pushed really hard on the administration. So it is possible for us to make changes, even if it doesn't seem like it sometimes. Let's see. Felt like I had one other issue. Obviously, potholes are huge right now. They do have early access once again this year to the hot mix, which they're trying to use whenever possible. When it's a day like today and it's 6 degrees when you wake up, it's really difficult to use the hot mix. I have noticed progress on a lot of the really bad potholes, but there's also still horrific amounts of potholes. I've bent a rim already in the car I share with my wife this year, so I feel your pain in a very literal way. But please do report them. It's important because DPW does use the reports on Request to Indy or the Mayor's Action Center to determine where to triage and go first. And also, if you get your car messed up by a pothole that has been reported to the city, you're a lot more likely to get a tort claim payout where the city will reimburse you for damage done. If no one has reported the pothole to the city, it's a 0% chance that you get any money back if that happens. So be a good neighbor, get things fixed. Please do try to report those. I know DPW's AFSCME crews are working really hard. It's just there's a whole lot of work out there. So share them some grace, but also keep reporting them because, as we all know, every time it freezes and thaws, there's more potholes being created, which is like every day right now. Let's see, talking a lot. I think those are the major points I wanted to cover. I'm, of course, happy to answer any questions. And then also just wanted to encourage everyone, yeah, check out my website. About every 7 to 10 days, I do put out a pretty lengthy constituent email. Again, I'm high information. I'm not offended at all if it's too long, didn't read, but I want it to be there so you can control F and find something and figure out what my stance is if you ever need that. So with that, any questions, anything I can answer for you? Cliff.
Just to be clear, we're marching on March 3rd at 4 p.m. to get you 6 or more meetings starting at Fletcher Park by the Circle City Industrial Complex, now known as the Park District.
The Factory Arts District is really cool. I'm not trying to make fun of it here, but thank you, Cliff. Starting at 4:30, I think. 4 o'clock. Okay. There's a Facebook event about it too. Mark Latta from Windsor Park organized this, which I was very honored by. Yeah. Yeah, so the question, just to repeat it into the mic, was last chance wreckers, the towing issue. I do know that the city recently renegotiated its contracts with the tow companies. Those new renegotiated contracts, as far as I've heard, don't include like making it easier for them to kind of prey upon neighbors and hit them so aggressively with this. The way it's supposed to work under city ordinance is if you don't have, if your tags aren't up to date, so you haven't paid your registration or can't prove that, or if your vehicle is considered abandoned, meaning it hasn't moved in 72 hours, then they can tow your car. I've asked for clarification because there are people in neighborhoods like Holy Cross that don't have any place to put their car, and maybe they travel for work. And so why can't they leave their own car, their one car, in front of the home that they own and pay property taxes on for a week while they're out of town? And I haven't received any instructions back from Business and Neighborhood Services or from DPW or from IMPD about how you're supposed to navigate that situation. I do know that the towers are supposed to leave a kind of obnoxious bright notice that they put right on your driver's side window, letting you know, hey, we've flagged this as an abandoned vehicle, which means they usually come back. It's supposed to be 72 hours later. I've heard several reports that they're coming back with a quickness, like lots faster than that. And sometimes they'll mark your tires as well. And if they think that you haven't moved the tire based on, the line is still straight up and down, then they can tow your car. I have personally, like in a much younger days when I was driving my 88 Toyota Corolla, one time I just happened to park my car in such a way that the line was still straight up and down. And I had to run out of my house because they were loading it onto the back of a tow truck 2 hours after I parked. So it's possible. I think that was just bad luck for me that time. So I suppose one answer could be if you're going out of town, ask a neighbor to try to just look every day. And if they see the notice, there's a number you can call to report, hey, lay off, we're fine here. You can also put in a request or a MAC call to let them know, hey, call off your dogs. Like there's nothing wrong here. I've had several people. There's somebody in Woodruff Place whose sticker didn't come in the mail for whatever reason for their registration, but they had documentation proving it. And the note said that they could leave it in their front windshield, and then the tower was supposed to notice that, but they had slight tinting in their front windshield, and they were really nervous about that. So they called into the Mayor's Action Center to make sure there was some sort of documentation that, they do, in fact, have proper registration on the car. So that's a lot of words to say, I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm still not okay with it. I don't want to cast aspersions, but I've noticed in the last couple weeks, ever since a couple high-profile events, that I'm not getting responses from some of the departments at the city. And I'm praying that that is a coincidence. But if not, I will continue to be louder because I'm really good at that. And I'm not going to let the district suffer for political stuff. So. Yes, but the obnoxious notice is a heads up to warn you, we're going to come back and we might tow the car. So taking the notice off doesn't, like they'll keep records on their side about which cars are available to tow. The obnoxious notice is to try to get your attention so that you call somebody if this is in fact happening in error.
Going back to potholes, why is it harder for potholes to fix like the south area compared to, say, real
So, I mean, there's an obvious answer to your question that I think is probably somewhat accurate. But then there's also the fact that, so I have a map, I have this kind of like war room board up in my home office, and it has a map of it's called PCI, it's like Pavement Core Index, basically just showing how old and worn down the underlying layers underneath the concrete are. And so Holy Cross, if I remember right, mostly is not too bad. But if you go like just south of the Factory Arts District, that has some of the worst, oldest, like underlying brick. Like if you ever try to ride a bike around there, you'll lose some teeth because of how bumpy it is. So a lot does depend on the conditions of the underlying concrete. They can't do strip patching as easily if it's like poor underlayers. And a lot of these things are on a list of whenever we get money, we are going to fix this. And they've been on that list for many years now. So there are some legitimate reasons and some that I'm raising an eyebrow about. Yeah, it does go back to taxes at the end of the day. And, you know, I do want to quickly point out, in case anybody hasn't heard this spiel, the very true facts that the city administration will point out, which is we give away more in tax dollars than we receive in Marion County. And that's especially true for our road funding formula. We get paid by the state as though each of our roads, so each linear lane mile in a given direction counts basically. So we get counted for 1 lane mile in each direction of travel. And so, you know, one thing that people don't understand about the Michigan, New York conversion, which I'm a big fan of it regardless, but also doubles the funding we get from the state because it's going in both directions. And now that counts as 2 different lanes of travel. If you think about an intersection like 38th and Keystone, we get counted 1 lane north, 1 lane south, 1 lane east, 1 lane west. And so all those extra 3 lanes in each direction, the city does not get paid for from our road taxes. So there's a lot of inequity there. You know, we've been pushing hard at the state house, and I think to give a steel man version of the mayor's argument, it's not fair to charge all of us more in taxes when we're already paying more than our fair share, which I agree with that. But again, when I had to pay $100 to fix my rim, doesn't matter if it's tax dollars or going to the tire and wheel shop. Either way, I'm losing money. I'd rather that money go to actually fix the underlying problem and not just make the wheel people send their kids to college, you know?
Councilor Barton, Wordy Kessler Neighborhood Association has no potholes whatsoever. But I think I know what the answer to that is. Otherwise, have we even talked about a wheel tax, because we have the lowest wheel tax in the state of Indiana, and a lot of smaller towns do use the wheel tax. Potholes.
Yeah, there's many people on the council who agree with you that even though no one wants to raise taxes, we would rather pay more in wheel taxes and fix the roads. The mayor feels very strongly, not to speak for him, but every time I've heard his perspective, it's I campaigned on no new taxes. I meant no new taxes. That includes wheel taxes. There's other taxes where I'm far from let's just throw more tax money at it. But for example, our solid waste fee, if I remember this correctly, has not gone up since 1987. And so we're losing money every time we pick up the trash. To me, that's a use fee that it makes sense to raise and we can afford to. And the reason we haven't is causing us to have a lot of like really poor antiquated technology and equipment. But I do also understand and appreciate trying to protect people from new taxes. So cut me off. Yeah. I'll hang around after. So if anybody has more questions, please. Yeah. Thanks.
Great. Thank you very much. And then we've got, I believe this is our last speaker, guest speaker. We do have more after this, but which is why we made the meeting a little longer. But Jacob Barnes, he's our mayor's neighborhood advocate. Just checking. Yes. Come on up. I know you get to follow the counselor.
What? Oh, how's it going? Hi, Holy Cross. It's good to see you. I guess to give an update, I missed your last meeting, I believe. I guess to give an update to where I was working the campaign in Michigan, trying to keep us from the mess that is now. So I am back. I am glad to see you all. Just a few updates here that are pertinent to Holy Cross. East Michigan, East New York, obviously there still needs to be a lot of work done on that project, and that is slated to be completed at the end of this summer season. So as soon as it starts to get warm out, you might see that they've already started doing some electrical work on there, closer to our corridor. But as soon as that starts to thaw out, we're going to start to get in there and hopefully end of the summer season. There is a resource that I want everyone who is a renter to know. We have the Tenant Advocacy Project. It is a free legal resource for all renters within Marion County that offers free legal assistance to anyone who is in a legal matter with a landlord. You can call 317-327-2228 to access this free resource. A reminder that Westminster is going to have their food fight March 8th at March 7th. Please forgive me. You can go on to Westminster. You can just Google Westminster and you can sign up there. They will have 4 local high schools. They kind of have a master chef competition, and it's a great fundraiser for a nonprofit that does really important work for our neighborhood. They are always looking for volunteers to serve in their soup kitchens or their essentially free grocery store. I don't know if you've not been down there, I would highly recommend you take a look and to introduce yourself and to be a part of that nonprofit. Reminder that Parks has programming still happening now. All over the parks, there's yoga classes, there's fitness classes, there's hikes up at Eagle Creek, all kinds of things happening. So please stay active this summer season. And a reminder that they are having this summer a hiring bonus of $500 for anyone who is looking for seasonal work. So if you know of anyone from age 16 to 18 or returning from school looking for some work, have them check out the jobs at Indy Parks. Neighbor Power Indy, Indianapolis Neighborhood Resource Center, is hosting this event that is kind of a gathering of all neighborhoods in Indianapolis, March 8th, 9 to 3 p.m. at Martin University. It's where everyone from Indianapolis can come and gather, share stories, meet other people in other neighborhoods, kind of learn what they're doing. So highly recommend, some representation of Holy Cross there. A few last thing, I created a new outreach program called Indianapolis Tuesday 10. And you can find this on YouTube. And it is a program out of the mayor's office that will highlight 10 things happening in Indianapolis that everyone should know about. So it's about a 5-minute program. It's kind of like a news anchor, kind of fun little quick 5 minutes. You get QR codes, you get the information, and you kind of get to know what else is happening outside of the Near East Side. So that is really all the updates that I have. What does Holy Cross have for me? Yeah, that's 317-327-222, angel number 8. Reminder that I have my office hours at Rabble Coffee every Tuesday, and I have extended those to now be from 9:30 to 12:30 on Tuesdays. And if that doesn't work, email me and we can set something up. Okay, beautiful. Good to see everyone. Happy New Year.
Thank you, Jacob. All right, we've got some announcements for the neighborhood itself. We want to make sure we get through these neighborhood reports. So please bear with us for just a little bit longer. First off, I am proposing an amendment to our neighborhood bylaws. So we are going to vote at this meeting. The proposal, I'll show the proposal in just a second, but as far as the logistics, our bylaws do require it to be a 2/3 vote of the members present at the meeting where the bylaws amendment is being voted on. So essentially that's 2/3 of the people in this room right now who are voting in order to pass. And then we will require a motion in a second if somebody wants to do that. And we would like you to share your name so that we can write that down for the record. So the proposed amendment to the bylaw is essentially just changing it from saying that our annual meeting, which the annual meeting is a specific meeting called out in the bylaws each year where we talk about like finances. So if we have a budget, what we spend our money on in the association, we do our elections for officers and other things. And so the current bylaws call that out specifically in April. And so what I'm proposing is to amend the bylaws to say that that annual meeting will be the second scheduled meeting of each year. And so that way it could change the actual month that it happens in, but it will always be whatever the second scheduled meeting of the year is. And that way it'll give us a little more flexibility if for some reason we need to move things around and change things up. We are trying a quarterly meeting schedule this year. So that is the proposed amendment to the bylaws. And I did send out notice to the association board, and we put it in a couple of newsletters. Hopefully you saw those. So we tried to make sure that people were aware that we were proposing this amendment. And that is basically all I have to share with you. It's a very minor amendment, I think. It's just kind of making us a little bit more flexible. And so I will stop speaking now. And if anybody is okay with that proposal, I would look for a motion in a second and a vote. Okay, we have a motion from Gwen and a second from Tim. And then all in favor of making the amendment, please raise your hands or say aye. Okay, I didn't count those. So I'm trying to see, okay, who's in the neighborhood and who's not. I think we've got 2/3 of the room because I know that our speakers are not voting. So I appreciate that. Yeah, who doesn't? Nays, anybody opposed? Okay, we don't have any opposed, so we're good. All right. So we've got our motion, we've got our second, we've got our pass. Thank you very much for that. So that means that the May meeting will be our annual meeting, and we will be doing elections, which I've got a slide on here in a little bit. So I will come back to that. Jacob did already actually mention this two-way conversion. I did want to mention though, because I was talking to DPW about something else and I asked for the update. They said the reason that New York and Michigan going two-way was delayed because they were saying end of the year. They had some issues with the CSX Railroad, and they also had some issues with delays for the sanitary sewer work. So, or not sanitary sewer work, but you know how you've heard that a lot of the homes have lead pipes along those corridors. So in all of the work they're trying to do to replace some of the lead pipes along those corridors, it's caused the delay. So it's essentially a mix of dealing with CSX railroad issues and the lead pipe replacement. So now they have said that they are planning to have it open to traffic by the end of July, if not sooner. And then a quick update on the Blue Line. So this is moving forward. They're actually having their groundbreaking ceremony next week, next Friday in Irvington. If you haven't seen any announcements about that, I believe the public's welcome. But they are planning to get started with the actual construction before the end of the first quarter. So that's probably by the end of March. And then the thing that's pretty relevant, I think, for our neighborhood is that I was recently made aware that they are potentially considering moving the station that's been proposed at Arsenal Avenue to Oriental. So the other stations that I believe are proposed right now are at Southeastern. And that one, I think, is still at Southeastern that they're planning on moving forward with. And then I believe there's one at State. And so they had, I think it's actually, it might be one street over from State, but in our neighborhood, it was essentially going to be like Southeastern and Arsenal. And so now they are considering moving the station from Arsenal to Oriental. I did show up. They had an open house. I think they've got a couple more of those left this month. If you're interested in talking to actual employees of Indigo, but that is something that's under consideration. So I just want to bring it to your attention so nobody, at least at this meeting, is surprised if they see that that's a change. I would warn you all to expect a lot of detours and delays along Washington Street. I attended an online virtual meeting and they were talking about all of the detours that they're essentially going to be running. They did say they're prioritizing traffic going into downtown on both sides of Washington Street because they wanted to try to make it the best chance possible for people to get to work on time. But then leaving is going to be a lot rougher. So if you work in downtown and you're going to have a prioritized flow into it, it's probably going to be slower than you are used to, but going out of downtown is going to take you longer for sure. And they're going to kind of popcorn it. it seems like they've got little spots all over the corridor they're going to hit, so they don't have like long stretches that are like out of commission for any like super long period of time. So I'm hoping they'll be sharing all that stuff online. I did see a lot of maps, but it was only for like the first, like to the end of the summer, because they're kind of doing it in stages. So anytime I hear something, I'll try to share that, make sure people are aware of it, but look for that. And the full thing would open sometime in 2028 is what they're saying right now. Moving on. Oh, yes. So they do have some open houses right now. I think if you check like social media and all that kind of stuff, I'm sure it's on their website, but I know that they were pushing them out on their social media channels when all the dates of the meetings were. I feel like there was maybe another couple next week. They're not going to be like in our neighborhood, but they're going to be somewhere along the blue line. Sorry, I didn't bring those dates with me, but also if you have any questions you want me to forward to Indigo, like you can send them directly yourself, but I can also forward them if you send them to the info@indyholycross.org email. I can send those on for you. So let's move on to the foundation report. We've got Renee. She's going to tell us all about what's going on.
Okay. All right. Start with the really exciting stuff first. Hey, everybody. The balances on here are as of this weekend. We do have some income coming in already for the Wine and Cheese Festival. And we have a couple of signs that have been sold, but as of this weekend, we had a little over $32,000 in the account. Almost $7,500 is restricted for signal boxes, gateway signs, park sculpture maintenance, etc. And then a little over $15,000 is wine and cheese funds that held over from previous festivals so we could seed and start paying deposits for this year's festival. Recent fundraising initiatives, some folks were able to make it out to Iozo's Dine and Donate. We sat with Cliff, for example, at Iozo's. Thanks to everybody who came out. And Kroger Community Funds. If you have a Kroger card and you don't already support a program, we've got a QR code over here. And when you shop at Kroger, we can get a little bit for it. It's not a lot, but we make like 35 bucks a quarter and every little bit helps. So that'll keep going up. And then house sign sales is something else we've kind of got going on. So we've been talking about the sculpture maintenance fund for a while. We are finalizing an MOU with Parks. They recommended 10% of the value of the sculpture to be set aside. A lot of what we got for the sculpture was donated. So although we only had about a $10,000 grant and there wasn't a lot we had to pay ourselves, it's worth about $40,000 from everything that was donated. So we have to set aside about $4,000 for the maintenance fund. The Parks folk recommended we actually set it aside as restricted in our own account as opposed to giving it to them because there's maintenance fees, et cetera, if they held it. So they said it didn't make sense for that we would hold it and then we'd have an MOU with them. Any questions on that? We've been working on a strategic fundraising initiative. This QR code, and I've got some more over here. We want to hear from you guys. This is a needs assessment. So we want to hear what does the community want to see us focus our funds on. So as part of that, we're also looking at how to have clearer communication on what we're looking to do. We want to start talking to businesses to support us as opposed to always asking our neighbors to fund our projects. One of the things we're doing right now actually is Sinclair, our treasurer, is pretty financially savvy and has found that we can invest in treasury bills right now, low risk, high, well, much higher than we'd get it with it sitting in a checking account. It's about 4%, he says. So we've actually are working to deposit about $15,000 of what's in our account right now in that, so we can just earn money on our money. And it's just a little bit, let's let our money work for us, guys. So that's one thing we're working on. We're also working on a cooperation agreement between the foundation and the association, just to clarify our relationship. We have some cost sharing, some responsibilities, et cetera. So just to have a clear understanding of what group is responsible for what, and then also just to kind of make sure that we're covered from any kind of risk because of what we do as a community. So we're working on that. We should have it pretty much ready for a vote, early March, right? We're going to meet again in a couple of weeks, and then we're going to take it to each of our groups to vote on for our cooperation agreement, and then we will have it published for everybody. Project request form on our website. If you have something that you think would be a great initiative, besides the idea, like we want to hear your ideas, but if you have a very specific thing that you want us to look at funding in the near term, we want to hear from you. We have a link on our website, so we would just need some information from you. And then we will vote on it as a foundation group. We meet every other month. So we'll meet and vote on it at our next meeting. For example, we had one that someone brought to us last year about kind of a community welcome basket, getting some neighborhood swag and some things from the neighborhood businesses. And we like the idea, but we need someone to champion the idea. So if that's something you might be interested in, let me know. Right now, we haven't officially approved that one because we need someone to champion it and kind of flesh out some of the details. But if it's something that you think you might be interested in, let me know because we think it's a great idea. New residents, when people move in, when someone's brand new to the neighborhood, we'd kind of give them a basket, let them know what businesses are in the neighborhood. We could try to get some coupons, business cards, things like that, and then some neighborhood swag. Who doesn't like a free shirt or whatever, right? That's right, or a koozie. We all need koozies. And then we have a person retiring from our board, if you will. So we have a vacated space. So we need someone who would like to come and join our board. There'll be an appointment for that at the May meeting. The person will basically apply, if you will, and then the association officers will review the person's application and then let us know if they approve it. So if anyone's interested in joining our small but mighty crew, let us know. We actually have a lot of fun. We met several times in our street. I'm pointing at Nikki, she's on the board with me. We had, I think, 3 different meetings around the holidays where we got together and had dinner and did this strategic fundraising planning. We really actually kind of enjoy each other's company and hang out, but we also get a lot done. So if you're interested in joining us, let me know. Here's what we want to hear about. Wine and Cheese Festival. Save the date, guys, July 26th, 4 to 9 p.m. If you don't already have it in your calendar, please put it there. Tell your friends. We have new Facebook and Instagram accounts. So Holy Wine and Cheese. Follow us. Tell your friends. I also want to say thanks to everybody who's working on it. We've got a lot of people who are working on the festival this year. They're spending a lot of time. So thanks to everybody who's doing that. Exhibitor registration is open. This is why we have some income. We already have, I think, 12 exhibitors registered. And it's been open 2-ish weeks. So we're really excited about it. Now, sponsorship opportunities. I wanted to mention there's 6 levels like there was last year. There's 2 for residents and then 4 for non-residents. And if you go to the website right now, you will only see the 4 for non-residents on the website. And right now we're doing that on purpose while we appreciate everyone's contribution. We had businesses sponsoring at the $100 level, and that was really meant for residents to sponsor at. So that's hidden from the general public. However, it's a non-linked page. So if anyone is interested in sponsoring, just let us know. We've got on the website, it says who to email, just winecheesefest at indyholycross.org, and we'll send you the link to the resident page. But there's 4 levels for non-residents. And then we have some flyers that are being worked on. Actually, Jordan back there is working on them for us to put up places, hand out, etc. So if you are interested and willing to sponsor as a resident, please, we appreciate you very much. If you know of businesses that you think would be a great fit, we would love to talk with them. If you can make an introduction or send them the information, all the support we get goes back to neighborhood initiatives. For example, the Park Sculpture Maintenance Fund. That's something we funded with some of this. We're looking at as a group, we've talked about the safety initiatives and some of the cost sharing you can do with DPW, and that's something that we could potentially do with it. But we have to have enough funds to cover the cost of the festival and then have more to do some of these things. So if anyone knows businesses that would be interested in a good fit, please, we appreciate hearing from them. Some of the fun stuff is back, guys. We have 2 sessions of the SOM experience with Jan this year. We had 1 last year. It sold out. People loved it. So she said she'll do 2 this year. And then Cheese Wars, if you remember last year, we had grilled cheese last year. This year's battle will be mac and cheese. So we are working on getting chefs, working on kind of making some adjustments for logistics so that it's easier to get in and out and get your mac and cheese. So stay tuned. We're going to put information on the website, but we're also going to push it out on those new social media accounts. So follow us. We'll keep you guys posted. We are looking for volunteers outside of this neighborhood as well. A lot of you volunteered last year, and it was a lot of work. We're looking for people who are looking for volunteer hours, youth groups, church groups to help maybe with setup or helping in the kids area or hauling trash around. Like you can't have a kid serving beer, right? But you could have them hauling trash around or helping set up or whatever, helping in the kids area. If you know of youth groups or church groups who might be able to partner with us and we can get them the hours they need and then we can get the volunteers that we need, please let us know. We are absolutely looking so that we can not overwork the people who are kind enough in our neighborhood to come out and help us out. So that's what I have on the festival. Does anybody have any questions on the festival? All right, tell your friends, guys, tell your friends.
All right, thank you, Renee. We have, I think just a couple things left. Cliff had a couple things he wanted to mention for Nesco. I don't want to rush you, but we're getting pretty close here. So-
I like going last so nobody heckles me the way I heckle everyone else. So April 24th, we are having a quarterly CRDC meeting, which is our community resource council district. It is our local public safety organization. Public safety isn't calling 911 every time that you see somebody you don't know. Public safety is getting to know your neighbors, making connections with the most vulnerable people in your neighborhood, having porch hangouts, even things like converting streets to two-way streets go into things what we call crime prevention through environmental design. And we're going to be talking at this meeting, after I just said it's not just calling 911, we're going to have Chief Bailey there. We're going to have the prosecutor's office. We're going to have the coroner's office, who's going to be talking about our overdose crisis that used to center here in the Near East Side, and we've had a 20% drop because of our efforts. We are the only part of the town who's actually dropped in overdose deaths, not dropping in overdoses, just deaths because of our efforts. We're going to be talking with elected politicians. I hope to see Councillor Brown there. This is going to be April 24th, 6 o'clock at Inglewood Church. If you want to come to our local CRDC meetings, those are the first Thursday of the month at Westminster Neighborhood Services. As Jacob talked about, Westminster Neighborhood Services and their amazing food pantry, this would be a great time to come out there and see what they have to offer. That's the first Thursday of the month at 6:30. I'm going to have information that we can put online so everybody can go. Beyond that, Indigo, we just got a grant for $3,500 that we're going to be able to provide free bus passes for low income people within the Near East Side. If you know anybody, we're hoping to get this initiative started end of the first quarter 2025. So late April, we should be getting this going. So if anybody needs passes, let me know. Questions? Heckle me.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cliff. And then spring cleanup. We got Amanda. She's gonna let you know what's happening.
30 seconds. Spring cleanup, which is the one where we partner with the Marion County Health Department, is coming up on April 26th. We'll meet at 9 at the Redev building, which is on Michigan by the railroad tracks. And you don't have to meet us there. You can work on your own block. Would really love to hear from you on social media, email info@Indy Holy Cross. Let me know where hotspots are. Let me know what places need help. I've already heard from someone this week. If you also want to pre-clean, let us know about that too. But we're supported, of course, by beautiful Keep Indianapolis Beautiful, and they help us out with both of our cleanups every year. So yeah, email us. Let us know what needs help. No dumpster, but we do have the picker trucks from MCHD. Yeah, thank you guys.
Put that on your calendar. It's also on the calendar on the website, April 26th, 9 a.m. Hope to see you all there. I'm going to buzz through a few things here real quick. Girls Night Out. This is a fantastic program where some ladies in the neighborhood can get together, make some community, chill out, get to know each other. Gwen kind of helps us run that program. So if you're new to the neighborhood or you just were unaware of the program, you want to join, let Gwen know. She can add your email address to that so that you can get the notices for upcoming events. We do, as I mentioned before, we have elections coming up for the May 15th meeting, now that that's our annual meeting. Thank you very much. We do have 4 positions in the Holy Cross Neighborhood Association. They are each 1-year terms. It's president, vice president, treasurer, secretary. I don't believe anybody is really territorial about any of those positions. So if you want to get involved in the neighborhood, you want to run for any of these positions, please let us know. More than happy to bring more people in. But we also have the association board, which is open to anyone in the neighborhood. It meets in the months prior to these meetings so we can talk about the agenda and other things going on. You do have to be on that board to be nominated for one of the officer elections, but luckily we have a meeting coming up on April 8th. So join us at April 8th and then you're ready to go for those positions. Holy Cross Neighborhood Foundation, they have 2-year terms. They do have 2 elected positions. Those are currently full because we voted last year, but there is, as Renee said, an appointed position that's going to be open. So if you're interested in joining the foundation, please let us know so that we can get that moving along. And then finally, the slide that we pretty much show at every meeting, calendar. There is a calendar on the website. We're actually going to have some more fun events going on this year. They just aren't quite finalized to be added to the calendar yet, and it is still kind of the colder months. So keep an eye out. We'll put those in the newsletter. Please follow the newsletter. IndyHolyCross.org is the website. That QR code takes you to the calendar. It'll come up again at the end of the slideshow. Yes. Oh, that might be the screenshot I used like 6 months ago. So that's not the actual. Go to the website and everything is updated. I'll update that screenshot later. We have a lot of we have the Urban Times. If you ever have any article ideas, send those to Amanda. We do get that delivered to the neighborhood. If you want to help out with delivery, please let us know. I think Bridget's kind of trying to help coordinate that a little bit. That we have all the social medias. We have our email at or website indyholycross.org. Email is info@indyholycross.org. And then support the neighborhood. This is our mandatory slide of QR code if you want to give us some dues. So $20 per household per year. Those are voluntary, but we don't really keep track of who's paid. So like just kind of keep in your head, like if you pay at the beginning of each year, we really do appreciate that contribution. Helps us put things like paying for the Zoom subscription, which we're using right now to record the meeting so that people who can't be here can watch it. Cleanup supplies if we need those for the cleanup days, things like that. And then finally, upcoming meetings, association board meetings. Those are second Tuesdays quarterly. We just had one in January. The next one's April 8th. Those are on Zoom, so you have to let us know if you want to be part of that. We'll get you the link to the meeting so you can join us. Association member meetings, that's this meeting that we're having today in February, but the next one is May 15th, and that will also be here. Ball State's very generous in letting us use this room for all of our meetings this year, so just plan to come back here quarterly. And then the foundation meetings are on 4th Wednesdays. Those are in person. They're every other month, and their next one is on March 26th. And if you're interested in knowing more about that, Renee is up here and she can let you know what's going on there. And then I believe this is the last slide, and I just put some QR codes up for anybody that wants to grab them on their way out the door. So I got you 8:33, so I think I got pretty close. And thank you to all of our speakers that came today. We got some really great information. This was very nice, and I hope to see you all again soon. Thank you.